How we doing, people? Welcome back to Jimmy Case TV and a case for the Blues. We're going to be doing another weekly roundup of all the transfer news surrounding the club. I mean, I say weekly. I missed the last one. This week, this month, even is just so busy for me. So, like, busiest time of the year. So, I've been struggling to make time to do some videos. So, we'll get all the transfer rumours done. Chuck in a few other clubs, but mainly focusing on Chelsea. Maybe we'll touch base on the fixture list that's just come out recently. And maybe the game yesterday, what a load of shit that was. I did miss that game because I was at a wedding. It's just another day where I've been really busy. I've been unfortunate not being able to do the stream. Obviously, I was enjoying myself at a wedding anyway, so I'd rather have been there. But before we start, if you could leave a like on the video, it'd be very much appreciated. It does go a long way. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Try and help the channel grow. Trying to get more subscribers so I can do some more live streams and get some more engagement going. Trying to get an end of season review out, hopefully after the Club World Cup, depending on how far we go in that competition. If we carry on playing like we did yesterday, as I said, I didn't watch all of it. I've seen highlights, etc., and I've seen the reaction from people. Apparently, we got absolutely battered. We might not be in it for that long, so you might see that a little bit sooner. Trying to get a couple more people on. And we're going to be doing a transfer roundup of all the transfers under these owners eventually. So anyway, let's get started. And I want to put out a little disclaimer before we start. I'm not an ITK, which is a new term that I've just recently learned. It's in the know. I'm not a news reporter. I'm not, I don't come with these exclusives, and I haven't got any links to clubs with inside knowledge. So I won't be giving you any breaking news. I'll probably put that out every single time I do one of these. I'll just be talking about the rumours that have been circulating around the club. And let's be clear, the majority of them are just rumours, and I'll be adding my 2 pence. I'm a big believer in don't get too excited with transfer news until you know that there's some real concrete evidence behind it. We know that the deal is going to get done, or you see that the deal has been done. I've been used to, back in the day, turning on TV, Chelsea have signed this player, boom, then the excitement begins. But obviously, these days with social media, they're just like there's a euphoria of transfer news when 90% of it just go nowhere. So, but anyway, since my last video, the transfer window is obviously shut for the Club World Cup. It was open for that 10-day period. It's shut for 6 days, which just reaffirms how pointless that was. That window was just pointless. They should have just left it open. If anybody can, reach out and explain that one, please do, because I don't get it. Should have just been left open. And it closes in September. I did actually say in my last video that it opens in the 1st of July, which is the normal opening transfer window opening date. So I got that one wrong. Don't know why. Obviously, I didn't do my research. I didn't think of that one. And the Club World Cup has officially started with Chelsea getting off to a good start in their first game, and then obviously spoiling that yesterday. But within that time, obviously, there's been 2 main targets for Chelsea, which we were attempting to get done before the Club World Cup started, and that was Gittins and that was Maignan, which obviously both have been put on hold because they're both demanding fees that Chelsea don't want to play. We're trying to ensure that we do not overpay, but we'll revisit that in a minute. In fact, in the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes or so, Fabrizio has actually put out a tweet saying that Chelsea will not go back in for Maignan, which for me is just, it's just so baffling. I mean, we look at Sanchez and we know that we've got to improve this position, like it's without a doubt. Even though his stats look good for the season that have just gone, statistically it looks good. When you're watching him every single week and you're seeing him make 1, 2, even 3 mistakes in a game, and then you've got the club coming out saying, "Oh, we believe that he saved us 9 points." They're taking the piss when they come out with that. Honestly, they are taking the piss. But we'll get back onto Gittins and Maignan later on. But for now, I just want to go through some of the names that are floating around the club where there doesn't seem to be much more than just speculation. And, there's been a few. And bear in mind, this is since the last video. So, there's been some that have come and some have gone. Some things have happened since. So I'll go through it periodically. And then we'll just talk about it. Anyway, some of them names that was on there. First one, Nico Williams. Now, obviously, we've been linked to this guy for God knows how long, probably since the Euros, where he really shone. He's always been considered as a one that, where the wages were too high. Um, I mean, I wasn't surprised that the news coming out recently that we pulled out of the race because of that. Apparently his wage demands were really high. He was asking for something like 300k a week, but it's since come out that he's agreed a deal with Barcelona and he's on 130 to 140k a week. So I don't know whether we fumbled this one or we've taken the piss with our wage structure and tried to bring him on a contract that's like 100k a week or something. But who knows? He might have even lowered his demands just to make sure that he gets to Barcelona because he's always had that feeling that Barcelona was the one that he was trying for. So he's got the deal done. He's got the move that he wants. Is it one that's making me think, oh, not really? I've watched him in the Euros. I thought he had a very good tournament, but since then I've watched him a few times and I've never really seen something that makes me think, what, we really need to sign this player. Obviously, there's a lot of hype that comes around his name, but I just don't see it. Does he improve our squad currently? You probably have to say, yeah, he probably does. But I don't think this one's gonna, it's not gonna happen. He's going to Barcelona, so that one's out of the window. Another name that keeps popping up now, and apparently it has been reignited as we've made contact with his agents, is Morgan Rogers, available for around 70 million, although I've seen some higher figures recently, 70, 80. I've even seen 90 million, which is insane. But this is one that I'd definitely go for. We've seen him have a really good season for Villa last year, and with Villa missing out on the Champions League spaces, I've seen rumours that they need to sell to meet PSR. So this could be one that potentially does come out. I've also seen Villa linked with Nicholas Jackson. So is there the possibility that there could be a switch? Now, obviously, Jackson getting sent off yesterday just marks 4 games, 2 red cards. His stupidity is beyond me. Like, this guy has zero football intelligence, absolutely zero. And the only thing I would say, and is a bit defensive of him, is, and I've been putting this out today as well, is that although he's going through a tough time, he's been here for 2 seasons. I remember a player at our club that become one of our legends that did have 2 tough seasons, and that was Didier Drogba. He didn't have a very easy start to life at Chelsea. I remember people used to hate the fact that he was diving all over the place, his theatrics. He wasn't necessarily scoring loads of goals for us. The one thing I would say is he scored important goals for us. But so did Jackson. Jackson scored in the Europa Conference League final. So, for me, this season, this will be his 3rd season. This could be a career-defining season for him. Depends how he wants to go. We either upgrade now, we sell him, bring someone in that's going to do the business. Obviously, Delap's there. He made his debut. Apparently, he was he made his debut the other day. I got to watch that game and I thought he played really well. Apparently, he wasn't as great this game. So, you've got Delap there who potentially comes in and starts. He's obviously been given the number 9 shirt, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but sometimes the numbers do mean something. Delap could be taking that role. He could be the main striker. Is it the one that we all want? No. I think John Obi Mikel was right when everyone was saying that Osimhen was the one that we want. He's true. That is true. I think he's correct. We all want that big name Osimhen. But maybe we should be giving Nicholas Jackson his 3rd shot. So I'm a little bit like, you know what? I look at the Drogba situation. Obviously, they're miles apart. But if you was to look at Drogba in his first 2 seasons, you'd be frustrated. You'd be thinking, oh, fucking hell. Doing the same thing with Nicholas Jackson, thinking, oh, fucking hell. So give him a 3rd shot. But at the same time, if we can upgrade, I'm all for it. But you know what? Back to Morgan Rogers. I think this one's an exciting one. And I've seen a lot of it recently over the last 2 weeks or so that we're interested in him, that we're talking to his agents, we're exploring options. They love all these little buzzwords, exploring and all this. Just what I'd like to see is that we just get it done. I don't like all this, delaying thing, building up the suspense and all this for a deadline day transfer window. Fucking, you know what it's like. I don't care about all that. Fabrizio and David Ornstein always seem to get it out before anyone else anyway, so they've ruined that deadline day thing. I've got my hiccups again. Every time I start streaming, I get hiccups. For me, he's a versatile player. Can play anywhere along the front three. Front line even. Play cam, left wing, right wing, and even play up front. So he's kind of fulfilling that hybrid role that we've been looking for, that everyone says that we're looking for. He's obviously another City Academy product. He's probably played. I don't know if he's actually played with all of his players, but obviously he fits in with Delap, Palmer, Lavia, and Tosin. Don't know if he's played with all of them, but obviously they came from the City Academy. I know that he's played with Palmer. For me, an exciting one. In terms of the fee, I think that's quite high. That's the only thing that's putting me off. If 90 million, I've seen 90 million. If 90 million is true, I mean, even 70 million for me is quite high. I think 50 to 60 would probably be a fair amount, but I understand that Villa are going to want to try and, without that Champions League, and they've got to meet PSR supposedly, then they're going to try to get as much as they want for this player. And Chelsea are suckers for paying higher prices, unless it's Mike Maignan and we don't actually want the player. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but you've got to think about how these owners operate as well. So 70 million pounds, or 70 to, let's just say it's 70 to 90 million pounds, is their resale value? I mean, he's young. Potentially, would we make a profit on it? I don't know. It's quite a risk. We've seen him have a very good season at Villa. Could he come into a new setup and do the same? Not quite sure. The other thing to look at is, will rival teams want this player? And do you know what? I actually think they would. So the only thing for me is potentially that resale value. Can we see, if we sign him for 90 million, are we going to get that back? Are we going to sell him for more? Who knows? So for me, bring it down to your 60s, 70s. I think that's one we should definitely explore, because I think he fulfills any of them roles. Like he could always be an option in any of them roles, and I think he'd come in on the left hand side and play straight away. If I'm honest with you, now we've seen Mudryk go. We've seen Sterling will probably get sold. We've seen Sancho go. Madueke, he's a bit up and down. For some reason, the fans don't like Madueke, and I don't understand it. I like him. So we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Another name in the hat is Jarell Hato, the Ajax centre-back who we've been linked to for quite a while. Another young prospect. I think he's 19. He might have turned 20 since. But he's also been linked with many other teams. He's been linked with Arsenal. When I say many other teams, Arsenal is the main one that I've seen. Over the last week or so, the talks surrounding Hato have heated up once again. But nothing concrete. I don't see anything say, like, we've had this since like January, this Jarell Hato, and saying that we're in talks with him, we'll be talking to his camp. But I look at it and I think, you know what? It's another centre. Obviously, for me, the centre-back position is definitely a position that we need to improve on, because we need some stability there for a start, because we keep chopping and changing it. But Hato, if he does come in, is going to be a left back. He's like a left-sided centre-back who can play left-back as well. But then when you look at who we've got in the team, we've got Viega coming back. Now, whether or not he stays is another question, because of how he left to go out on loan. We've got Sarr that's come into the squad. We've got Anselmino. We've got Colwell. And then you've got all the other centre-backs that could potentially... I know they're not all left-sided centre-backs, but they're players that can play there. You've got Badia Shield that plays on the left-hand side sometimes. So it's like... we're heavily stacked in this position. So if we are going to go for this one, for me, I think the only reason that we would go for this one would probably to block him from going to rival clubs. Now, I've seen a lot of interest from Arsenal this week, and a lot of talks about Arsenal, him going to Arsenal. That's obviously from Arsenal accounts, and they're bigging up this transfer. So for me, I can't see that one happening. I really don't. Another one on this list of players that, I think it's just speculation, and since my last video has gone actually quite quiet, is Hugo Ekitike. Nothing really developed since the previous 2 weeks. He's probably been linked to more clubs, like rival clubs, if anything. I haven't really seen anything from Chelsea. The only thing that I did see was that it came out that we asked Frankfurt for their valuation of the player. They've turned around and said, well, he's worth 100 million euros, and that's what we want for him. And I think that's where we kind of went, all right, well, we'll just park that there and we'll leave it there. But we'll touch on him in a minute, because he is linked with other rival clubs, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But in terms of strikers from the Bundesliga, have also been linked with another young striker who plays for Stuttgart, Nick Watermaid. Now, this one, I'm not going to lie, I actually got excited and I've broken my own rules here. I started watching compilations of the guy on YouTube. You shouldn't do it. By all means, you can roast me for that. You should not do that. That's the worst way to judge a player. But do you know what? I've never heard of this guy. First time I've heard of him. So I thought, you know what, let me just have a little look at his compilations. He's currently playing in the under-21s for Germany, although he is 23. 6'6", looks techie, quick feet for a big guy. You know, tall guys normally they look a little bit dangly like giraffes. He can dribble, which is quite surprising. And when he gets the ball near the box, he can definitely finish as well. So just watch his YouTube compilations and see what you think. I mean, I watched him and I thought, "Oh boy, this guy looks like he can play football." So did excite me, but as I said, it's not a way to judge a player. So maybe I'll watch some more streams of Stuttgart well, maybe I'll tell you what, I'll do some streams of Stuttgart and get the scouting going and see like scouting session, see how he really is and see whether that's a worthwhile investment. But looking at him then, I thought, yeah, man, this looks good. And you know what? I've got his stats up. He's got some good stats, and in comparison to Sesko as well, he outperformed him in pretty much all of the stats that you could put out there, other than the aerial, which is a surprise because he's 6'6". But he got 12 goals in the Bundesliga. Now, obviously, we have to put a little bit of a Bundesliga tax on that because we've never seen a striker come from that league and do like anything amazing. So always got to be cautious after the Timo Werners and the Christopher Nkunku's, even though I do believe that Nkunku has been mismanaged at this club and he's been a bit unlucky. So I'm not going to throw his name into the pot just yet. That's one that we need to look out for as well. When we talk about outgoings, Christopher Nkunku, because nobody really knows what's going on. He's been taken to the Club World Cup, and you'd think, you know what, if someone is leaving, you wouldn't take him to that competition. It's a bit like Petrovic. Petrovic didn't go because he wants to look for a new club. Something else that we will touch on later. But bit of a strange one. For me, if we can make it work with Nkunku, we'll find a new player there. It'll be like a new signing because this guy was brilliant when we did sign him. And I was buzzing when we first got him. I thought this is going to be an absolute sick signing. And he does his knee in, I think it was an American tournament on one of them pitches. He'd done his ACL, weren't it? So it's just ruined him since then. And I think this year he's just been mismanaged. He's kind of been pushed to the side. You're going in the B team. You can play in the Conference League. You're not going to start in the Prem, or when he is coming on, he's not getting enough minutes to even really impact the game. And in the end, if you're a player like that, you probably think, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm not going to put the effort in. Like, you obviously don't trust me. It's probably not the way to have your mentality as a footballer. You probably got to be in there and just go. But I get it. Like I'd be like, oh, fuck this, man. I'm a good footballer. I can go get a move somewhere else, and that's probably what he's been doing since start of the season when he's come under Enzo Maresca. But yeah, anyway, back to Nick Watermaid. I don't really think this one's going to happen. I just think it's speculation. I think it was more of a fan buzz than anything. They saw him score in the under-21s game for Germany, and they've gone, right, this guy looks good. This is the one that we're linked with. So not really buying into that one. Another one that's been floated around is Antonio Nusa, Norwegian 20-year-old winger, another winger. Also linked with Napoli and Arsenal. Apparently, we've entered the race for him now. And I think this comes out after the World Cup qualifiers. All the links started coming about because he's been helping Norway keep their 100% record in their World Cup qualifiers. Plays for RB Leipzig. Considered a tricky winger, available for around 45 million euros. But I'll be honest with you, the most that I know of him is through Ultimate Team. That's I'm not going to lie. I had him in my Ultimate Team. I thought he was unreal. But I don't watch the Bundesliga, so I can't really comment on how he really is as a player, but he's considered a highly rated talent in Norway. So if there's any Norwegians watching this, maybe you can get in the comments and let me know how he really is, whether this is one that we should explore. Obviously, he plays on the left-hand side. I think that's an area that we do need to improve, especially with, like I said, Nkunku not working out. Mudrik's been found guilty of fucking doping. The dope. Do you know what I'm saying? I did say at the start of the season, that guy has 6 months left at this club if you don't sort it out. Start sorting it out, and we find out he's on drugs. Just no hope for the guy. Just no hope. So we'll find out how long he's banned for. He's already served about half a year, isn't he? So might even be longer than that. I can't even remember. But Sancho's gone as well. Sterling's going to be leaving, and then we're left with like Madueke and Tyree George on the left. Madueke's again, he's just going through. He's a bit up and down. He's linked with moves away. People monitoring him, but we'll get to that as well. Tyree George, I don't think's ready yet. Will he ever be ready? Don't know. So it's definitely like an area that we need to be looking into. And it's probably another reason why we're linked to this other player, Malik Fofana from Lyon. So he's available for around 40 million. Another highly rated talent, of course, a young prospect. We don't go for ready-made stars anymore. We know this. So the rumours around this one seems to be heating up over the last couple of weeks or so. But yeah, another one I don't really know much about. I haven't watched Lyon this season, so I couldn't really comment. But I haven't seen it other than the 1 day's worth of news about that coming out. I haven't seen anything else come out of it. So some of the other names out there that I've seen over the last couple of days, Kudos again has come back up, although he seems pricey. Everyone knows that that's one that I would definitely explore. As I said in the last video, I think that is a ready-made player who will come in and make a difference to our team. We've got João Pedro again, who's been linked to. Now we was linked to him quite early in this period of the transfer window about to open, and he's available 55 million. Now this one I actually can see getting done. The reason being is because it's Brighton. We love funding Brighton Stadium for some reason, and their team. I don't understand it. Obviously, they're in cahoots with each other and they're just paying each other. Me, I don't think this one necessarily. Like, I don't think he necessarily comes in and straight into that 11 and improves the team. I don't think he does that. I think he's more of a squad player. He's available for 55 million pounds, and then to play in the squad, that's quite a heavy fee, in my opinion. Another player that come out, and I see this one yesterday, was Xavi Simons. Bit of a surprise. Now, obviously, I've always liked Xavi Simons. I thought he's a very good player. Quite an interesting one, to be fair. Not seen anything concrete, more of a rumour, like I said. But apparently we're exploring options to sign him, and I think he's a decent player. If you saw him in the Euros, he scored that screamer against T-Rex Arms Pickford. But I reckon he could actually come in and do a good job for Chelsea. I think he's a very nifty player. Obviously, he come up the ranks through La Masia. So he's obviously got something about him. But you know what? I do think he comes with warning signs because he doesn't seem to stay in one spot for quite a long time. He's always going out on loan. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't seem to get into the squad. So not quite sure on how much he is available for. So that's one to look out for. But anyway, let's get back to the two main targets. Hold on 1 second. The two main targets that we was talking about earlier being Mike Maignan and Jamie Gittens, as you can see on your screen below me. AC Milan were holding out for 25 million. Obviously, Chelsea keen to make sure that we don't overpay. We were calling it the Club World Cup tax. What a load of bollocks that was. And Dortmund were also trying to hold out for more. It's come out since then that there's two other clubs that are trying to do business with AC Milan, Napoli and Atletico Madrid. They've both pulled out on their deals and said that their demands are too high. So maybe that is something, you know, maybe it was a smart move from Chelsea not to go ahead with it. Especially with Maignan being available on a free in a year's time, maybe that's the reason why. I mean, I have heard before that we've said we're willing to wait. If it was Real Madrid, you know exactly what they'll be doing. They'll be getting in his ear, whispering to him, saying, "Listen, run your contract down, and we'll sign you on a free." So, you know, if we want to operate like a big club, one, we either just get the deal done and we take the player straight away, or we do what Real Madrid do, and that's just to sign them on a free, and we use our name to get us transfers. But I'll be honest with you, I was very up and down about this transfer because I didn't want our club being mugged off with the transfer fees. You know, we do a lot of business with AC Milan. They've had quite a fair few players off of us for a decent bargain as well. You know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Giroud, Pulisic. So Tomori, did Tomori come from us? I think he did as well. So obviously I know Tomori was a Chelsea player. I don't know if he went and then went there. So, but you know, even though that is our fault that we've been overpaying for players recently, like spending 20 million on Kellyman, who I ain't even seen touch the fucking pitch yet. I haven't even seen him in the kit, let alone fucking out on a pitch. And obviously overpaying for like Dewsbury Hall. So we kind of at fault ourselves because we've kind of set that precedent that we will pay high. But there needs to be a point where that stops. So, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know, we've got a load of keepers that we could potentially, like, we've got cover. We've got a lot of keepers. And, after the season that Petrovic has, I was thinking, you know what, especially with him coming back, we should be okay. So then I see Petrovic wasn't even going to the Club World Cup, and I'm thinking, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Why haven't we just pressed this matter and signed this goalkeeper and we could have him there for the Club World Cup? Because we all want to get rid of Sanchez. Let's be honest, we all want to get rid of him. So I just didn't understand it. But then it come out later, Petrovic had asked to be left out so we could look for another club because we couldn't guarantee him a starting spot. So very up and down. But, the Club World Cup, in my opinion, would have been the perfect chance for him to prove himself. That could have been take Petrovic there and, give him the opportunity. Let's see how he plays. Let's see if you think he could be better than Sanchez in that starting role. Let's be honest, I don't think Enzo Maresca's really seen much of him to make that judgment. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more that goal. What's his name? Is it Roberts? I think it's that goalkeeper, that coach that's been with Sanchez all of his career that is dictating this. I'm not going to lie, because it doesn't add up for me. It don't add up. I mean, it would have been a perfect opportunity for him to, put himself out there and see whether he's worthy of starting for Chelsea Football Club. But I get his situation, to be honest. You see us putting in bids for Mike Maignan. You've got Sanchez already there that they seem to be infatuated with. You've got Jorgensen there as a backup that, you didn't get into the team last season because of that reason. And then you've got Mike Penders in the team. He's obviously come back from loan this year and he's now in the squad. He's gone to the Club World Cup, but he's the club highly rates this guy as like the next Thibaut Courtois. So from his point of view, you're looking at it going, you've got a very slim chance of playing, ain't you? Really. Do you know what I mean? Even though you had an amazing season last year, you're looking at it going, like, what am I doing here? And same time, I look at it and go, well, what's the point of the model? We're going out, like, we're loaning these players out. You expect them to develop, and then they come back and improve the first team. But at the same time, what we've got to, we want to be increasing the value of these players as well. And right now, his value is probably as high as it will be. And it'd probably be a good time to cash in, let's be honest. So although I get the backlash, because there was some backlash that come from Chelsea fans, it looks like another episode of Chelsea churning out players for pro. I think some Chelsea fans need to understand that this is going to happen. There is going to be players in this squad. That squad is absolutely stacked. We've got about 50 players. There is going to be your fan favourites, you've got your player favourites in there that you like, but unfortunately, you got to understand that a lot of these players will be churned for profit. And you know what? The club is a business at the end of the day. It needs to be profitable. We need to operate around PSR and successful loans like the one Petrovic has had, where his value is maximized. To me, it looks like a good opportunity. And if we know that he's not going to be the starting goalkeeper, then as long as we use that money to further develop the first team and, it keeps us within PSR, then why are we complaining? Like, I think the big question that we need to ask ourselves is, do we see Petrovic being the main man for this club years to come? And for me, I feel like they're gearing up for this Mike Penders to be that guy. So although we're putting in offers for Mike Maignan, maybe not no more, apparently we're not renewing it. It feels like Mike Penders is the one that they're really focusing on. So probably a good time to cash in on Petrovic, let's be honest. I mean, you look at other players in the squad, you've got like your Carney Chukwuemeka's, for example, have gone out on loan, they've done well at Dortmund. Dortmund are now interested. If we can flip that and make some money, obviously he's out of favour for Enzo Maresca for whatever reason, but now the squad is absolutely stacked in these positions that he can play. So it's like, what do we do? We can't just have all these players in the squad not playing in the reserves or going out on loan again. Maximize their value, sell them, and increase, our window of PSR, and also maximize our ability in the first team. That's what I think we should do. But I get it. I get the outrage as well, because it frustrates me as well. But I think people just need to sit back and think about that for a couple of seconds, and you'll realize, you know what? Actually, it does make sense. We're basically like stockbroking players. That's what we do. It's like Football Index. If you ever was in a part of that, it's like Football Index. We're just like that. Anyway, let's get up to some of the outgoings from the club. There's a couple that I see over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, Kepa going to Arsenal for 5 million. I think that's a good deal for both clubs, if I'm honest with you. We want to get him off the wage bill. He's won us a few things at the club. It didn't really work out of him. Obviously, his transfer fee was mental. So you expect him to be the best goalkeeper in the world, and we didn't get that. We got a goalkeeper that was all right, very good at saving penalties. He's obviously got the record for Chelsea saving the amount of penalties that he has. And he won us a couple trophies. So fair play to him. Hope he enjoys himself. Off you go. He won't be a star at Arsenal, but you know what? That's a very good backup for them. So, I think that 5 million for them is obviously a touch as well, but we needed him off the wage books and we've been waiting for that to happen for quite a while. So I think that one works both ways. It's come out that Alfie Gilchrist is told that he could leave this summer and it's looking possible. And the one that's been coming up recently is Nicholas Jackson. I've seen him being linked with Galatasaray and Napoli. And apparently after yesterday's sending off, he's being linked to a move to Juventus. So let's see how that one develops. After he's sending off to Newcastle, I said he could go because I was absolutely sick to death of him. And now after this, it still doesn't look good. So, like I said about the Drogba comment, it's taken 3 seasons for Drogba to really get going. Could this be the defining season for Nicholas Jackson? That's one to watch out for. I'm in the position where if we can upgrade him now, do it. Don't mind. If they stick with him, then this is the defining season. I think we've got a couple of players like that. I'm not going to lie. I think Madueke is another one. I think if he really doesn't hit hit form this season and show that he's a starter every week, and he's got to get into a position where you go, you know what, first name's on the team sheet, bang. Let's make sure that Noni Madueke he's on it, because with the players coming in, Esteval, Quenda. We're looking at other left wingers. There is a possibility that he'll be one of these players that could churn for profit. And that's just the nature of the beast. That's how it works. That's business. And he could be fan favourite. I mean, I like him. He's a fan favourite of mine. I actually think he's a good player. I like the way he plays football. Obviously, he's not fully there yet, and I fully understand that as well. But I have faith that he's going to get there, and I'm backing him. So hopefully this season is another one of them seasons. And he does do well, and he does really define himself in this team. But yeah, anyway, other than that, there's Petrovic as well, who's obviously stayed behind from the Club World Cup to find a new club. Haven't seen any much more outgoings, to be fair. Now I expect there's going to be loads. It'll probably heat up after the tournament. Obviously, like I said, the squad is absolutely stacked. I expect Sterling to leave. There's always talks about Chalobah leaving every single window for some reason. Apparently, he didn't have a good game yesterday, which is a shame. I mean, he's been quite good recently. But yeah, we'll have to watch that one, and obviously it might come out in another weekly transfer news roundup or whatever of more outgoings. So we'll get to that. Obviously, there's one that I have missed who's at the bottom of the screen is Bettinelli. I can't remember if I put that in there last week, but he's obviously gone to Man City. But whilst we're on the topic of Man City, we're going to start talking about some of the other clubs and some of the transfers that have been going around there, because there's some teams that are just not fucking about. Let's just Man City, they are out for revenge. They're out for retribution. This club have just acted so quickly. They saw it wasn't going right. Pep's not happy, fuming, scratching his head and everything, fucking self-abuse throughout the season. It gets to January. They sign fucking Marmoush, Kusanov, Nico Gonzalez, and I think that's it, innit? Them 3. I think it was them 3. Yeah, it was them 3. That Kusanov was one that I said that we should sign as well. Very good player. So obviously he had a stinker against us on his debut, but he's a decent centre-back. And when he hits the ground running, what you'll see is a very physical player. He's going to start barging people off the ball and not giving a shit. And now, obviously, with the window being open, they've signed Bettinelli from us. He's gone to the Club World Cup. Reinders, which is an unbelievable signing. And he started impressing immediately in this Club World Cup. Watch how good he's going to be in the Prem. And then Out Nori, who I think's underrated in my opinion, and I think he fits Pep's system perfectly. Obviously, I mentioned Marmoush. That's a ridiculous signing. He's probably scored the fucking Puskas Award with that goal against Kepa, would you believe it? He's got an absolute highlight reel of conceding absolute screamers. Then the big one, which is like completely out of the blue, Cherki. Now, for me, 36 million they've signed this player. That's a missed opportunity for not just Chelsea, for a lot of clubs, because this signing is like, it baffles me. I just don't understand why no other club were exploring this option, and we've all just let Man City strengthen. It just, it don't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense why we've all sat there and let them sign Cherky, because he's just going to fit into that midfield. And mate, if you watch him, unbelievable player, and Pep will get the best out of him. So we'll see how that one goes. But in terms of outgoings, obviously we've seen KDB leave. I haven't seen anything else of anyone else leaving. So if you're a City fan, get in the chat. Let me know what's going on. There might even be some signings that I've missed, some potential incomings, because I haven't seen much news from City either. So let me know in the chat. Got the hiccups again. The other team, Liverpool, I'm only going to do the most, not necessarily the top 6, but I'm going to do the ones that I care about, So Liverpool, another team that is absolutely not fucking about. This team, and I tweeted about this the other day, X posted, whatever you want to call it, yeah. With City messing up the way that they did last season, I think they've all sat there and gone, do you know what? This is a window of opportunity for us to now make us like a stamp on this league and try and dominate for a long time. They are not playing. They signed Marmadashvili in January? Or was it this time last season to sign for this season? Who he comes in for this season. Obviously, they've still got Alisson, but Alisson is very injury prone, so you've got him as a backup, potentially maybe even a starter. Signed Jeremy Frimpong, who's a replacement for Trent Alexander, who's just gone to Real Madrid. He'll add some good attacking play on that right hand side. Is obviously, and some pace. Finally, they'll have some pace down that right hand side. And then the big one, Florian Wirtz. Like, fuck me, 125 million euros, which is that, well, let's be honest, the fee is ridiculous, yeah, because we got absolutely abused for signing Enzo for a similar amount in euros, yeah. 125 million euros is a record fee, must be the oil money, yeah, or it's still that Coutinho money that they pay. I mean, they spent nearly £1 billion since that Coutinho money, and they still use that as an excuse. Oh, we sold Coutinho. Fuck right off. Yeah, 125 million, ridiculous fee, but this guy is a baller. Now, they've been smart as well, because obviously there's some FFP dodging going along, because Leverkusen have just signed Quansah for 34 million. Quansah, 34 million pounds. So obviously the inflated fee is Leverkusen saying, listen, we need to bring in this amount of money. We need to make it look like, we're going to comply. What do you need? You need 34 million. Blah, blah, blah. We'll buy. We want your centre back. We'll buy him off you for 34 million. It's got to be. There's no way anyone is signing Quansah for 34 million. No one. Something dodgy going on there. But anyway, the big one that's come out this week. Now, this one for me is just Premier League done. Yeah. Rumours of them trying to sign Isak. I swear to God, if they sign Isak, everyone in this Premier League needs to just pack their bags up and just forget it, because it will be done. It will be an absolute game changer. I'll be sitting there going, they've got to win the Premier League, 100%. And shame on all the other Premier League clubs for not even stopping it. If they get that done, that is ridiculous. But in saying that, I have seen news yesterday, actually, that they're saying that that's not a feasible option anyway. So let's see how that one pans out. Obviously, they're also linked to the left back Kerkez, who had a very good season last year. Some people saying he's the best left back in the league. I disagree. I think it's Cucurella. But I've read that the deal's actually done. They're just waiting for the announcement, basically. So that's going to be a replacement for Robertson. In terms of their outgoings, Konate seems like he's the one that's looking like he's going to be going. Obviously, he's not renewing his contract, and you've got Madrid sniffing around it again. They love a free transfer, don't they? And they just, let's be honest, they tap players up and they use their name to get free transfers. Let's just keep it that's as real as it can get. That's exactly what they do. This tapping up nonsense, I've never seen, like, back in the day, it used to be a thing. It is no longer a thing. No, I haven't seen a club get in trouble for tapping up for God knows how long. Real Madrid do it all the fucking time. They talk to their players through their agents or get their players to talk to their players and say, run your contract down, we'll come in for you. That's what they do. And it's Real Madrid. Nobody wants to turn down Real Madrid. Nobody. So, yeah, at the moment, Liverpool are looking like the ones to, mate, it's a problem. It is a problem. Robertson reportedly looking to leave, and obviously nobody wants Nunes, so you're stuck with him. Anyway, let's go to Manchester United now. Pretty boring, but they've signed Cunha for 60 million, quite a high fee. He does improve their team, in my opinion, though. Still think they've overpaid for him. His wages are quite high as well. But apart from that, it seems like they're struggling to get their targets. Obviously, the first player that turned them down was Liam Delap. End of the season, obviously Chelsea get Champions League, Manchester United don't get anything. He's turned them down. We've signed him. Apparently, Gyökeres has also turned him down and said that he's focusing on Arsenal. I did read something that came out after that saying that it's not necessarily true, and he didn't mean it in the way that he said it. I think that's bollocks. I've since read that it's all Arsenal with Gyökeres. And there's other targets in there, such as your Ekitike, your Osimhen, your Mbeumo's, but these are all looking like really expensive deals. And, Man United have got a hell of a lot of work to do and nothing's really moving. So if you're getting your Ekitike, you're spending £100 million. If you're getting your Osimhen, you're spending 60 to 70 million pounds, but you're spending a lot in the wages. If you're getting your Mbeumo, you're spending a decent amount, but he wants a very inflated contract. So somewhere along the way, they're getting mugged off and they need to be thinking about different prospects, in my opinion. But they need to sort that midfield out for a start, in my opinion. Sort the midfield out and go from there. Haven't seen many outs either, which is what I did expect. I thought they would be getting rid of a hell of a lot of those players after the shit show that they're put in. To be fair, any other man, if this was Fergie, the Fergie era, all of them would have been gone. So I'm a little bit surprised that not even a single person, I haven't seen a single one of them go yet. So yeah, let's watch out for that one. Oh, actually, to be fair, obviously Garnacho is linked every single week with moves away. So he's probably the one that's going to go first. Obviously Rashford as well is linked away. But to who is the question? To who? Where are they going to go? Let's get on to Arsenal. Obviously, finally, they've signed their player Zubimendi, which has dragged on since January. I saw a tweet the other day from Paddy Power that they've had the best transfer windows going this year. In January, they signed Zubimendi. In July, in June, they've signed Zubimendi. And now I've said it wrong. Basically, they said they signed Zubimendi every single time, and it made me laugh. I've kind of killed that one now anyway. But anyway, yeah, they finally got their player Zubimendi, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's dragged on and on and on and on. Obviously, there was a period of time where it wasn't looking likely, and he was twerking for Real Madrid, coming out with statements about how if Alonso calls him and all this. So you're getting a player that don't really want to be there, let's be honest. But nonetheless, he is a good player. Does he improve your squad is a question. Now, he would have done if I didn't hear that Partey was leaving. So in my opinion, I think the Arsenal board have been a bit smart here. They know that Partey's leaving. They'll get Zubimendi in and they'll make out like they've improved the squad. They haven't. They've just replaced Partey, in my opinion. So now you need another centre mid, which is just all I've heard that Partey wants more wages. That's all he wants. Bigger contract. Now, he was your best player last season in that midfield. If it's me, you tie him down to like a 1 or 2 year contract. He's getting old. 2 years probably about right. Give him a little bit more money and you slot him in with Zubimendi. And I think you've got a very good midfield there. But the news is Partey is leaving, which is a bit of a, well, I think that's a bit of a bummer to Arsenal. I'm not going to lie. So let's see what happens with that one. It's not 100% confirmed yet. Obviously, rumoured to have signed Kepa, but no announcement yet. I think that's a good one for you. The big one, obviously, is Gyökeres. Obviously, he coming around saying that he's focusing on signing for Arsenal. There's apparently some issues going on with the sporting board at the moment and what they promised him and stuff like this. He said that they promised them that he could go for a certain fee. They've come out and said we never agreed that. So obviously, they're going to try and maximise their value for this player. Whether or not Arsenal want to pay that fee is a different question, but they're also looking at Benjamin Sesko. So it all depends on where they want to go with this. They're looking at two of the options, whether or not they're looking at both at the same time, or one of them's going to get picked out of the two. Who knows? But obviously, I've also seen that. Is it who does he play for? Is it? Let me just double check that. I forgot. It's one of the Red Bull ones. Give me 2 seconds. Let's go. Is it RB Leipzig? I wasn't sure. For some reason, I was going to. Yeah, see, he played for Salzburg as well. That's what I was going to say. RB Salzburg, but he plays for RB Leipzig at the moment, and I think Leipzig come out recently saying that, you know what, we want to do business and we want a fair price for him. So I think Arsenal are a little bit stuck. No matter what, they're going to be spending money. That's what they need. They need to spend the money anyway to get a top striker in. So I genuinely believe Arsenal now, obviously with Partey, if he does go, they need a little bit more squad depth in that midfield, because obviously you've seen the likes of Jorginho leaving as well. You've got to have, obviously Marino's there as well, but he don't really play well in centre mid every time I've seen him play. So I think you need to, now you've got Zubimendi, you need a backup to Zubimendi. Otherwise, you're going to be using your Marinos, maybe your Zinchenko's, maybe your Skelly's in the midfield. Maybe it would work. Maybe it would work just having him there. But I think you're losing a big player there in Partey. They definitely need a striker. The striker was always key. Even if they had a striker last season, that would have been a very different team. Very different team. If they had the striker the year before, they probably win the league. So they're always missing a striker. They're missing a right wing backup. Now, apparently they're monitoring the situation for Madueke. They're one of the teams in for him. So for me, I look at that situation and go, Chelsea, what are you doing? If Arsenal are looking at them, and obviously they see some potential in this guy, that'll be a very good backup option for Saka. If anything, give Saka a break. You bring on Noni Madueke. If he starts playing well, you can also play him out on the left. So he can play left and right. That's backup option for Martinelli. Even maybe start over Martinelli. That would be a good signing for Arsenal, in my opinion. Obviously, I've seen Arsenal fans rage about it, saying he's shit and all this. Why are we going for him? I get it. Do you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't rate him, but I do. So for me, he's got to do something this year. Obviously, the outgoings, we spoke about Partey, we spoke about Jorginho having left. They've also, Sterling obviously come back to Chelsea. Tierney's gone, Tavares has gone, and Neto's gone back to his club. So not much really happening for Arsenal. They've made one signing that they announced ages ago. That was a signing that they announced. Well, there was linked to in January. They said it was done nearly then. So they haven't really done anything since. They've been linked with a lot of players, but not really moving it. Not moving anything. Nothing's really getting done. It's very slow. And history with Arsenal is they do this, and then they'll do a signing on the last day that's a bit random, and then they'll try to appease the fans. And obviously, I watch a lot of AFTV and Arsenal football channels as well, so I can imagine the rage that's going to happen if that happens again. Because I reckon Arsenal fans are going to lose their shit if that happens again. But for me, two clubs that are definitely taking it seriously at the moment, that's Man City and Liverpool. They're out there to try and win the league next season. Don't think we're doing enough to put us in a position where we can say that we're going to be competing. Even for I don't think we'll be challenging for the league. I think we're looking at third and fourth. That's probably what we're trying to aim for next season. I can't see, with the signings that we've got now, I don't think we're doing enough. Obviously, the window, we've got till September, so we've got a long time till that window shuts. And obviously, we're in a competition at the moment that probably waiting for us to come out of before we start doing the madness. We always will. And we'll always end up signing loads of kids as well, which really fucking pisses me off. But as long as they can come into the first team and make a difference, that's what matters to me. But yeah, in other news, some other players that have moved on. Leroy Sané has gone to Galatasaray. He's on the big bucks over there. Obviously, they've got different tax laws. So he's chosen the Turkish team, Gala. And I've seen that Rafa Leao has also been linked to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich coming out saying, yeah, they're exploring the options for him. That was another player that was also linked with Chelsea more recently. But yeah, listen, that's pretty much it for now. Not going to be, obviously, the stream on Wednesday for the Club World Cup is at 2 a.m. I won't be awake. Well, I'll probably be awake to watch it, but I won't be online doing the stream for that. I've probably got work. Well, I have got work the next day, so I won't be doing the stream for that. But like I said, I probably will be doing another weekly transfer roundup ending next week. I'm trying to get more people on to do it with me. And we're going to do a big one about all the Clear Lake signings and where we sit with like all of their players' value, because the amount of money that we've spent, obviously, a lot of people say a lot about the money that we have spent, but they never take into consideration the actual value of the club, where our players are. I mean, I saw a stat yesterday that our club has, in terms of our team and our players and our squad, have had the most value increase across all the other clubs in the Premier League. So, you know, the whole idea of it is to see whether we are doing things right. So look out for that one. Obviously, the Club World Cup streams will continue if it's in a reasonable time. Obviously, I'm not going to do the next game. And yeah, after that, we'll probably do an end of season review and review the whole season from start to finish. And I want to get some people on to do that as well. And I actually want to include some other rival fans. That would be good if I can get that going. But thanks for tuning in. Leave a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Help the channel grow. Trying to get more engagement from people so I could do more live streams. Growing slowly but surely. But you know what? All a hobby for me and I enjoy it. So thanks for tuning in and I'll see you on the next one.